Hey folks, Craig Robbins coming back at you. I want to talk with you today about the concept of differentiation and relevance. You know, everybody calls me and they say, Craig, strategically help me differentiate, help me figure out how I'm differentiating. And I sit down and talk with them. Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on with that. I'm going to show you a very simple chart that I use to help people think through differentiation. It'll give you some differentiating ideas, some thoughts on what's a wasted time and what's not wasted time. All right, so let's get started with it. So when they come to me, they usually come to me and they say, Craig, how do I differentiate? Like, what do I do? So I need to have a difference, and I need it to be a high difference. I mean, a big difference. As a matter of fact, I've gone to companies all over the globe, and I've talked to a lot of companies from GE, Microsoft, Google. And one of the things that I've asked them pretty regularly is, if you could have one thing in business, one thing, and I could grant it to you, what would it be? And when they think about it, think about that. If in your business, if you could have one thing and I could grant it to you, what would it be? And what they say is, I would have a sustainable competitive differentiator, a competitive advantage, something that makes us different, that's sustainable, that doesn't go away, that I can keep it forever. Because most of the time they have something that's sustainable. No, it's not. It's not sustainable. They create a V8 engine, everybody else creates a V8 engine. They put a radio in, everybody else puts a radio in. They put airbag in, everybody else puts airbags in. They put navigation, everybody else puts navigation in. They put electric in, everybody else puts electric in. They have self-driving, everybody else self-drives. Okay, so what happens is quickly people will follow and they will get that differentiation as well. So you can only have your differentiation for a little while. So there are things that start off high and they move to low. But here's the other side. The other side is that you need to have relevance. It needs to be relevant to the client. It needs to be highly relevant to the client. So you want to figure out this chart and you want to say, in front of you, you've got a chart that says, look, there's a difference and there's relevance. And it breaks into these four quadrants, okay? So when you have something that's low difference and low relevance, what do you got? You got something that's neutral. It's just it's low difference, low relevance, doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care that much. It's neutral, doesn't matter. Okay, so that's something you don't want to waste a lot of time on, because you're spending time and they're expecting that. Neutral, low. Your license, for the most part, is not a big deal to your clients. I know it's a big deal to Colliers, but it's not a big deal to your clients. It's not a differentiator, and to them, it's not that relevant. They just assume everybody's licensed. Okay, this isn't like being a doctor. Okay, so the second thing is that a lot of people do is they'll say, well, I've got this thing it's really relevant, but it's not very different. It's really relevant, but it's not very different. And what we call that is the ante. We're a global company. Okay, it's really relevant. Because like MetLife and big companies, they want to work with the global companies. Microsoft, they want to work with global companies. So it's really relevant, but it's not a big differentiator because we've got a bunch of other people that are doing the same. So what we do is we call that the ante. That's what it takes to play this poker game. You need that. You've got to have for a lot of you have to have an education. You have to have a global company. You've got to have insurance. You've got to have all these structures in place. They're really important for you. You want to have a network. Okay, so of really linked up people all around the globe that can work on behalf of the company. I'll give you an example. You'll have clients and they'll come to you and they'll say, "What's the structure of Colliers?" And you've got to tell them we have a global CEO and we have a Canadian CEO, and they work together. And it's a conventional company that has a hierarchy, and there's a person that controls it because that's the way their companies work. So they're looking for something that's relevant, that is not all that different, but it's an ante and it gets in. Okay, so then what happens when you have high difference, but the client doesn't really care about that? Okay, we call that fool's gold. That's a waste of time. And you'll find a lot of people accidentally go out and build fool's gold strategies. They try and figure out, how are we going to, this is going to be great. We're going to have, the best this or the best that. And the client doesn't care. They don't care. It's not relevant to them. Hey, I speak 5 different languages, and you go in the industrial market and they're like, I don't care. It's not, I get, you're the guy that speaks 5 languages. Hey, you went to Harvard, but can you help me with my industrial lease? Doesn't matter to them. So fool's gold, and not that fools go to Harvard, but I'm just saying in that case, Harvard's going to help them on Wall Street. It might not help you as much trying to get the, down and dirty industrial tenant. Okay, so you have to figure out where the client appreciates it. And so fool's gold is an accident of people accidentally taking something into a client that they don't appreciate. Okay, so what you really want is you want high differentiation and high relevance. And that is the driver. That's the important place to be. And what you'll find is most of the time that it connects to their business concern. If their business concern is solved, you're probably in the driver's zone. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on differentiators that solve their business concerns. And that's your unique challenge. No one's going to hand you these on a silver platter. You have to invent and find your differentiator. And you have to keep working on it. And at a certain point, if it's a good one, you'll have other people copy it, and you're going to need to get another one. Differentiators don't necessarily last forever. So keep working on that. I think you'll find that as you're searching for your differentiators, you'll find that knowing what your clients like will really help you keep honing that differentiator and keep making it more valuable. So go out in the market, figure out your differentiator, and make it work. Good luck this week, folks. Bye-bye.